You know, the United States of America was the greatest country before Trump, and it's the greatest country now after Trump. The white supremacists want to go back. They want to go back to the days when it was legal to own slaves.
You are about to be entertained by the ape, the young man who has become a legend in his own time. Come on, answer. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Oh man, you can't handle the truth. I just can't. I cannot get. Oh, anyway, everybody, welcome to the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. It is Thursday. It's March the 12th already, 2026. Thank you so much for joining me, and welcome to this edition of the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. And man, what a switch, right? Everybody's complaining about the weather, and yours truly included, because it was 80 degrees Tuesday, just about, and it's 35 right now with snow. So man, I mean, what a tease that we've gotten from the from the Lion Weatherman. Anyway, it's a couple minutes past the hour. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. Got a lot to talk about, man. I was watching. Oh man, I have to watch stuff so I can be prepared for you guys when I come on the air every Thursday at 7 p.m. If you're having any trouble watching me on Facebook, because we've been having a lot of trouble with Facebook lately for some reason. So if you're having trouble watching me on Facebook, you can shoot on over to YouTube, the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. You can watch me over there on YouTube, and you can also see me on LinkedIn Live, the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. I had a great time with the ladies last week. They didn't bombard me like I expected to be. Linda, Angela, and some of the other ladies who were on the program. I really appreciate them for joining me last week and having a conversation about black women and the I could say a bad deal that black women are getting. Because it's not all black women. Just like when you see white folks, black folks on Instagram and TikTok and some of the other things where they're blasting off on the police and stuff like that. So I mean, it's not all black women, and black women, like black people in general, do get a bad black people in general get a bad, a bad shake, because we're all looped into one particular aspect, and people think that all of us are bombastic and argumentative and angry and violent, and so we're getting that all over the place. But you know what? Let me take a quick break. I know it's a little early. It's only a couple of minutes past the hour. Let me take a quick break and come back with more. The program is Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show, and it's on blogtalkradio.com. The Ron Kelly Show.com. All right, everybody, welcome back. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program for a Thursday. It's March 12th, 2026 already. Wow. 80 degrees Tuesday, snow and whatever today, 35 degrees. Man, what a thing. But I see people are clicking in and out of the program because we do have a counter on Facebook, and I do see people are clicking in and out. And if you have any, and from my vantage point, from what I see, the Ron Kelly Show is on Facebook. So you have to go to the Ron Kelly Show Facebook page. You have to go to the Ron Kelly Show Facebook page, and clicking in and out. And if okay, I think you have to go to go to the Ron Kelly Show Facebook page, and that's where you can see. You'll see the program on the Ron Kelly Show Facebook page. So go, because I have two pages. I have one myself personally, and I have a page for the radio program. So just go to the Ron Kelly Show on the Ron Kelly Show on Facebook, and I'm right there. I just checked it. I am there. The Ron Kelly Show on Facebook. So you're not going to find me on the Ron Kelly, just my regular page. You have to go to the Ron Kelly Show Facebook page. The program is also on LinkedIn, and it's on YouTube as well. So so if you have any trouble going with me on Facebook, you can go to LinkedIn Live as the Ron Kelly Show, and on the Ron Kelly Show channel on YouTube. And while you're there at the Ron Kelly Show page on YouTube, just click on the subscriber button, and I see some of you have. I appreciate it. We got a long way to go to get to 1 million, but one at a time we'll get there. Anyway, everybody, it's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. Got a lot to talk about. Once again, thank you to the ladies who were on the show last week. Linda Galashaw, Angela Muhammad, and several other women who were there. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining me on Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. Trying to make some sense of a senseless world. That's what we're trying to do right now. It's not about who's wrong, who's right, and all of this type of stuff, but we're going to, we're trying to make it make sense, like people say. Anyway, it's about 9 minutes past the hour. So we're going to talk, I want to talk about Jasmine Crockett. We're going to get to that, about what happened with her campaign. She got a lot of votes now. She got like almost 1 million votes, Jasmine Crockett. And this gentleman who beat her was somebody who hardly anybody even knew, which was kind of amazing to me that this was able to happen. But we'll talk about her, and we're going to talk about the Democrats, because who's the most detrimental to the black community? Which political party is most detrimental to the black community? We're going to talk about that, and how detrimental are black folks to each other, to our own actions and the things that we do. How does that bring us down? So we're going to talk about that as well at just about 9 minutes past the hour. So I was watching some video about Kristi Noem, who was the Homeland Security Secretary, which was a job that she never should have had in the first place. But Trump wanted to surround himself with loyalists, and I guess so far she's the only one that stubbed her toe. And she did a couple of things. First, the worst thing she did, I think, was to say that the two people who got killed in Minnesota were terrorists, domestic terrorists. And she came out and said that before. Right off the bat, she said they were domestic terrorists. So when they brought her up to the House subcommittee on what happened, she still refused to apologize for saying these people were domestic terrorists. They weren't domestic terrorists. They were just folks who had an issue with what ICE was doing. So hopefully now that she's gone, because I mean, Jimmy, rewind a bit. That wasn't the only thing she did. She authorized a campaign that cost them hundreds of millions of dollars about trying to make these commercials about why people should go back and self-deport and come back, come back later. Maybe you'll get in. She was doing that too. So $143 million that she spent on commercials featuring herself. And then the airplanes, and that they had bought. Allegedly, one of them had a bedroom in it. Nice bedroom, nicer than most of our bedrooms on a plane. You know, and so she made a lot of mistakes. She was way over her skis. She should have never had the job in the first place. So now we need to see what Senator Mark Wayne Mullen is going to do, if he's going to take the job over. And naturally, Trump picked a man to do that job. But yeah, so it's just crazy, just kind of crazy. And I haven't noticed that any of the gas prices have gone up yet. I haven't noticed that. I know people were talking about gas prices going up, and I use Plus in my car. I have to, because that's what I have to use. So my Plus is already high, so I don't really notice that the gas prices have gone up. But they're saying that they have. The gas prices have gone up because of this war, and they're spending. The last count was it's $11 billion a week. $11 billion a week for this campaign in Iran, blowing Iran up. $11 billion a week that they're spending on blowing up Iran, and because most people that you ask, I mean, I've told a couple of people, and people were like, they didn't even see that where Iran was the biggest threat to the United States of America. I would say North Korea is probably more of a threat, even more so than Russia, because Russia is, Russia doesn't have the capability to win a war against the United States of America, a conventional war, meaning ground troops and tanks and planes and stuff like that. Now, when it comes to a nuclear war, the Russia and it's a sum zero game, because nobody would win if there was a war between the United States of America and Russia. If it was a nuclear war. Now, Lamar Gates says that. So he's saying that neither one of them were threats. So what he's saying is that the other countries were not a threat. So he's saying that North Korea wasn't a threat, and Iran wasn't a threat. And I don't really see Iran as a big threat either, Lamont Gates. I don't see Iran as being a big threat to the United States of America. But North Korea, I still think if North Korea, North Korea, I still think is a threat, and maybe not a threat to the homeland of our country, but in regards to South Korea, because we have all these, we have 50,000 troops that are on the border of North Korea and South Korea. So North Korea is a threat to our ally in South Korea. Now, North Korea is probably not much of a threat to, North Korea is probably not much of a threat to the United States of America, because they would be taking out, we don't even need that many bombs to take out North Korea. But they are a threat, not to us per se, but North Korea is a threat to South Korea, which is a very important ally of ours. And we've had troops there for half a century between North Korea and South Korea, because actually North Korea would probably beat South Korea without any nuclear weapons. They would beat South Korea, and we don't need, that would be a disaster if North Korea moved into South Korea and took it over. So that's why we have all the troops there. So Lamont Gates, I agree with you to a degree that North Korea is not a threat to the United States of America, but they are a threat to South Korea, which would be a serious problem, and that's why we have all those troops there. And shout out to Lamont Gates. Ronald McCready says all Trump is doing is taking and wasting time. Yeah, exactly. And see, and it pisses you off, because, the aid agencies that were, giving health care to the people in Africa, and some of the third world countries, they cut all of that off. So those people needed that health care. They needed AIDS prevention. They needed, some of the stuff that we could go to the CVS and buy, gauze, bandages, and and these type of things. You can go get a prescription. In a lot of these countries, you can't even do that. So they needed those aid agencies to help these people with health care. They don't have any health care, not any organized health care like we have here in the United States of America. So Trump is taking that $890 billion, $890 million, Lamont Gates is saying, $890 million per day. Yeah, he's taking that money and he's using it to fight a war, an unnecessary war. Because Trump, see, this is the ridiculousness that Trump said that he wasn't going to start any war. See, you can't really rely on anything that Trump says. Now, Trump says he wasn't going to start any war. Shout out to Ronald McCready, my brother from grammar school. So Trump is you just can't rely on anything that he says. So it's a good thing, he finally calmed down with the Greenland stuff, where they're not going to take over Greenland, because that didn't go over too well. Because, I'm pretty sure that they would be happy to have American bases there on their property. And to have Greenland would be okay with American bases. There's already a base there. So Greenland would not have a problem getting some American revenue, and which would create jobs as well on an American base. It wasn't necessary for him to try to take over Greenland. Just unbelievable, just crazy. Lamont Gates says that he actually took the aid and gave it to billionaires. This money is just pushing the debt ceiling higher. And there's a whole lot of truth to that, Lamont Gates, that the money is going to the billionaires. America has more billionaires than any place else in the world, almost 900 of them. Billionaires that live and prosper, here in the United States of America. So, it's because, like I was saying about the no taxes on. He said no taxes on tips and on overtime. It just. You see, everybody fell for that. See, because it doesn't mean that you're not. Every dollar that you make, every dollar that you bring into your household is being taxed. Every dollar is being taxed. So it wasn't. So you may not pay. You're going to pay later. Robbing from Peter to pay Paul. You're going to pay later on when it's time for you to file your taxes. See, now, if he said, well, the tax and tips and overtime won't count as income, okay, that's something different. If he said it didn't count as income, so if it didn't count as income, you wouldn't have to worry about paying taxes on it. But since it does count as income, when you go to file your taxes, if you've worked all year, when you go to file your taxes, you're going to, you filed your taxes, you're going to see that whatever money you made is on that W-2. Income, tips, if the place where you work counts tips and all. So it was a banana in the tailpipe. People fell for it. People fell for the $2,000 for every American from the tariffs. We fell for that, didn't get it. Of course we weren't going to get it. It's just, people just fall for the banana in the tailpipe with Trump. But see, and I'm going to get to it a little bit later on about the Democrats, where we're falling for the banana in the tailpipe with the Democrats too, because the Democrats are not as, it's just been a generational thing, and it's been passed down from generation to generation, where we support the Democrats, like the Democrats that are on our side. And now, I beg to differ. We'll get to that, and we'll get to Jasmine Crockett and what happened with her. People are saying that maybe she should have waited. I kind of sort of agree with that, but we'll get to that. Ronald McCready says he doesn't believe anything that comes out of Trump's. Yeah, neither do I. You just can't trust them. Because now that it's getting back to the $2,000 a piece. Now we're supposed to get $2,000 a piece from the tariff income. This is what Trump said: $2,000 a piece from the tariff income. And then when he was asked about it at a news conference, he said he doesn't remember saying that. You know what? The sad part about it is he probably doesn't remember saying it because his brain is mush right now. Lamont Gates says it's why all those millionaire pastors laid hands on him. The prophets have spoken. And yeah, I was watching something on about a pastor who was saying that you should pay your tithe first before you pay anything else. I saw that on Instagram and I checked it out, and there is actually a person who was saying that a pastor who's saying that you should pay your tithes first. So pay your tithes. So despite that you may come up short on your bills for that month or that week. So basically what he's saying, okay, pay your tithes before you pay your car note. Pay your tithes before you pay your rent. Pay your tithes before you buy food. I mean, like, paying your tithes must come first, and then if you come up short on your bills, then pray on it. I mean, come on now. Come on. These are people who give religion a bad name. People like Kenneth Coleman, who has a airport next to his house, where he doesn't even have to go to the airport. He can land a plane near his house, palatial mansion, And I know Lamont Gates has serious issues with this stuff, and we'll get to that. Kenneth Copeland, who is a millionaire pastor who has private jets. And I remember the other pastor, the brother, he asked the church to get him a plane, and I think they got it for him too. Got him one of those fancy jetliners, and he got it. I can't think of his name right. Yeah, Creflo Dollar, right? Ronald McCready, thank you so much, brother. Yeah, Creflo Dollar asked for a plane. You can't. It's hard to say what a person's actual, what their agenda is. Shout out to my pastor, Pastor David Island of Christ Church, who doesn't appear to be somebody like that. But you could knock me over with a feather if it turned out if he was like that, because he just doesn't give me that. But I don't know what kind of car he drives. I don't know where he lives. So as far as I know, he doesn't have a plane. But Lamont Gates talked about the millionaire pastors. And I saw this guy saying, pay your tithes first. Pay your tithes first. Come on now. Come on. Pay your tithes first before you pay your car note. So if you wind up not having enough money to pay your car note and they come take your car, everybody knows how disruptive it is when your car goes out of whack, broken down in the shop, car accident, gotta wait for it to get fixed. We know how difficult life becomes when you don't have a motor, a means of transportation, especially people who work in the middle of the night and can't take a bus to go to work. Ronald McCready says every dollar you make and every dollar you spend is taxed, and that's 100% true. Every dollar you make and every dollar that you spend is taxed. So when Trump said that there will be no tax on tips and no tax on overtime, that's just for the moment. But when you get your W-2, and most of us have gotten it, it shows every dollar that you made. We'll take a break and we'll come back with more. We're going to talk about Jasmine Crockett, and we'll talk about the Democrats and how detrimental the Democrats are to the black community. We'll get to that and more in just a second. We'll be back with more. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. It is on blogtalkradio.com, the Ron Kelly Show. Yes, indeed, I am the man. What a news cycle this is. This guy has got to go. Trump has got to go. George Floyd snuffed out by this police officer who's supposed to be serving and protecting people.
It's the Ron Kelly Show.
All right, everybody, we are back. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program, and it's on blogtalkradio.com, the RonKellyShow.com, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, WBOK, 12:30 a.m. in New Orleans. And the beat goes on, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me on another Thursday. It's the 12th of March, 2026. You know, American Port of Transportation has been in business since 1980. Around about the time I was born, well, maybe Lamont Gates, but not me. In 1980, American Port of Transportation has been in business, getting you back and forth, to and fro, safely to and from your destination. They've been providing safe and reliable transportation. School districts, you name it, the casino trips, family reunions, private school transportation. Like if your kid doesn't have bus service, they do private transportation. They'll take your individual child and bring them to school, and they've been doing that for 46 years. American Port of Transportation. So give them a call, 908-753-6423, 908-753-6423. American Port of Transportation is your source for reliable and safe transportation, and also, more importantly, is a sponsoring part of the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program at 28 minutes past the hour. So yes, we're going to get to that. So see, this is why, I'm conflicted, ladies and gentlemen. I think Angela Muhammad has just joined us. I'm not 100% sure. Angela is, okay, Angela likes to stay in the dark. Okay. Hi, Angela, how are you?
I'm well,
I'm good. We're going to get to Angela in just a minute, everybody. Thank you so much, Ronald McCready. Lamont Gates. Ronald McCready says, is the church going to help you with your bills? Well, it depends. I mean, I guess whatever you get, it may not be enough to cover your liabilities, but I think some churches do. I know my church does, Christ Church. They have a mechanism. I mean, you have to be a member and be there for a while. You can't just pop up, because that's what people do. They just pop up and go to the church and think they're going to get some help. No, you have to be a member for a certain amount of time. And I agree with that you can't just go to the church and pop up. And I mean, for the food pantry, yeah, you should be able to. But when it comes to the church giving out money, I think that you should be a member of the church, and you should have probably been there for a while. Got a little track record of being there and tithing and stuff like that. Because you can't go to the bank and take out make a withdrawal if you haven't made a deposit. So I think that some churches do have a mechanism where you can get some help, financial help if you need it. Lamont Gates says Jesus ended the tithe. Churches can throw out the pews now. Boy, Lamont Gates, you can always depend on Lamont Gates for a remark. Lamont Gates also has a program, everybody. It's called Life After Death. I mean, Near-Death Experience. I'm sorry. Here, check out Lamont Gates' Near-Death Experience on YouTube. Check him out. Okay. Yeah, they do help you. They do help you, Ronald McCready. As I just said, yes, they do help you. Lamont Gates says through thoughts and prayers. I just was, and then we had the other, then there was another pastor who was asking for W-2s. He was asking for everybody's W-2 to see how much money they were actually making and if they are tithing comparable to their. Oh God, I mean, but the Lord is the Lord now. I believe in God. I'm a believer. I'm not no Christian. I can't say that I am because I don't always do Christian things. And God knows what you're doing anyway, so you can't front with him. Now, everybody you show up at church with every Sunday may not know that you raise hell all week. But, yeah. I'm a believer. I may not be a Christian, but I'm a believer. It's 31 minutes, 29 minutes past the hour. Yeah, Lamont Gates says W-2s. Yeah, W-2s and 1099s. Yeah, this pastor, and I check out this stuff because there's a lot of clickbait on social media, everybody. There's a lot of clickbait. People come up with crazy, monotonous stuff and to get you to click on it because it's all about traffic. And I don't do clickbait. Maybe I should, but I don't do clickbait. But there are people who come on social media with all kinds of crazy stuff. You'd be like, what the hell is that? And you click on it. So they know that what they're saying is patently not true, but they put it on there anyway just so you can click on it. They don't care whether you make a bad comment, good comment, curse them out. They just want you to click on it. Ronald McCready says, yeah, he saw that and he thinks that, yeah, exactly. He saw that. Ronald McCready saw that and he says he thinks that they're holding out, which, yeah, he's thinking that, come on now, come on. How you going to go in my pocket, Angela? How you going to go in my pocket? I'm going to give what I can give. It doesn't mention, I haven't read the whole entire Bible. Maybe Lamont Gates would know about this, whether the Bible says that you're supposed to tithe and all of this stuff. I don't know, Lamont Gates. If you're listening, I don't know. Help me out. But yeah, he says he thinks that people are holding out. Unbelievable.
Well, it's supposed to.
So now, are you supposed to do it, or does the Bible say you're supposed to do it?
Well, the Bible have to do is willing to do.
So you're breaking up, but the Bible says that. I don't know if the Bible actually says. Okay, here we go. Lamont Gates says it was an old covenant prior to the temple being destroyed. Okay, boy, I'm way behind on this stuff. It was an old covenant, Lamont Gates says. Yeah, but they're taking it to the extreme. You want me to report my income to you so you can... come on now. Come on. See,
How good is it IRS?
Lamont Gates says it was only meant for the temple that no longer stands in Israel. Jesus replaced the temple. So when Jesus replaced the temple, did he say, no more tithes? What was the deal with that? I'd be interested to know. It's about 26 minutes before the hour. Yeah, so we had the conversation last week. I know most of y'all heard it. You can go on my page, the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program on Facebook. You can go on LinkedIn because Ron Kelly show's on LinkedIn too now. So I need my show to be on LinkedIn. So it's like I'm doing the American Idol, looking for a job in radio. Lamont Gates says that the tithe. See, Lamont Gates knows a lot about this stuff. He was a tithe, it's a sacrifice. Okay, all right, got it. So some of you who may have listened to the program last week. We were talking about. I had a variety of black women from across the spectrum. So the lady who was married for 51 years, which, is the exception, not the rule, which is, is sad, but true. As most marriages only lasted average of about 5 years or so. Shout out to my boy Dak Prescott, who told his girl he called off the wedding because she didn't want to sign the prenup. So you got to watch out for these women's. She did not. She did not want to sign the prenup. So the wedding is off. Shout out to my boy Dak Prescott, the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Now win a title, and I'll win a Super Bowl, and I'll be very happy. Okay, yeah, it's about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 40 hours. So yeah, Jasmine Crockett. Angela, I think you're familiar with our girl with the big eyelashes. Jasmine Crockett.
Was before getting on.
Okay, why are you breaking up? I don't understand. You're breaking up, Angela. I can't really get all of you. Let me see.
Okay. Did I put on it? You can't hear me at all?
Yeah, I'm hearing you, but you're breaking.
Hold on.
Yeah, you're breaking up. So I'm getting like part of you. Okay, you muted yourself. Okay. So we're talking about Jasmine Crockett and was the ghetto fabulosity. Yeah, Ronald McCready says that's not going to happen. Yeah, I may have to. What I may have to do is mute myself, Angela, while you speak. Anyway, now it's not a total loss with the Jasmine Crockett. She lost, but she lost to another Democrat. Yeah, Lamont Gates. Yeah, I'm muted when she talks, not when I talk. Yeah, I'll mute my mic when she talks. It wasn't a total loss with the Jasmine Crockett loss last week. Right, the Jasmine Crockett lost last week. She's still, Lamont Gates, she's still breaking up, even though, not right at the moment, but she's still breaking up even when my mic is muted. But, okay, so it wasn't a total loss last week to Jasmine Crockett. I know a lot of y'all thought she had a good chance to win. I know she thought she had a good chance to win, and the people who supported her thought she had a good chance to win. And, a lot of people said that Jasmine Crockett didn't win because of the ghetto, the big eyelashes, and the hair and all the stuff, and the jumping out of the bushes on people and being, somewhat disrespectful when she's questioning folks on whatever committee she was on. Ronald McCready says she lost because Southern black voters are still Confederate minded. Yeah, we got to get the breakdown. We got to get the breakdown of Jasmine Crockett voters by ethnicity, if that's even possible. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Yeah. It says that there's no source provided verifiable count of how many white people voted for Jasmine Crockett in any other reporting supplied. Yeah, she was substantially behind her white opponent. But I think that she's, a little, I think that she's a little, Angela, Angela, you can unmute yourself. Lamont Gates says Hispanics voted against her. Yeah, and Hispanics voted against Kamala Harris too. So is there a disconnect between black folks and Hispanic folks? Is there secret, because we know that there are white folks uh, who are racist against black people, but we never, but nobody ever paid attention to the Spanish folks about how they felt about black people. Angela, I think that, and there is uh, a disconnect or a disconnect, disrespect, whatever you want to call it, between black folks and Hispanic folks. What do you say to that? Your observation?
Being married. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, you're muted. I'm sorry. Can you hear me? Oh, you can hear me now. Just nod. Okay. I was married to a Dominican, and I learned that just like with other races, Hispanics are told to stay away from black people in America. So it's no surprise to me that they didn't vote for her. I mean, sometimes we're friendly at work, co-workers, even in some forms of politics, city council people, especially when it's election time. But when it comes down to the wire, I think there is a big trust factor, or for lack of words, there's a most people are taught that we are just not worthy. And if you want to succeed, you have to stay away from black people. And it doesn't just stop with the Hispanics, because I was told that by some island people too, from Trinidad and some people from Jamaica, even Africa. I'd say it is just stay away from black Americans.
Okay, yeah, that is true. You know, there is a disconnect because Africans say, "Don't call me black." I'm not black. I'm African. And there are Hispanic folks who are who do not. There are Hispanic folks who do not like black people, and it's probably because of what they see. What they see in the media, what they see on television, because you don't see a Grey's Anatomy, for example. Now, there's black people on Grey's Anatomy, and just like ER, there was a one the one brother who was a surgeon on ER, and the rest of the people were white. you know. And now, but when you go on Stars or someplace like that, Tyler Perry, whatever, you see a bunch of black folks who are selling drugs, who are being no count Negroes, who are doing stuff that's detrimental to black folks, killing each other. And see, and this is this is what's perpetrated on television and in the movies. The Wire, The Corner, uh, you know, Ghosts, whatever the name is. I don't even watch that show. Probably never watched it. Uh, you didn't see Doogie Howser was white. You know, he wasn't black. And there's a lot of brilliant black kids out here who are doing stuff, but unfortunately, it's the exception, not the rule. So, you know, I mean, it's sad that we all get painted at the same brush. Who am I? You know who I am, Nancy. It's sad that black folks get painted with. We all get painted with the same brushes. We're all not stick up kids. We all don't tear our neighborhoods down. We all don't, spit at the police when they pull us over, and we're all not like that. But unfortunately, we all get painted, with the same brush. And you know, when I talk about the Democrats, and we've been, through generations, we've been taught to vote for the Democrats. The Democrats are going to set us free. Clinton and Barack Obama and Joe Biden and some of these other people. And me personally, I'm not that big of a fan of the Democrats. I'm not, because what major piece of legislation has been passed, since the Civil Rights Act? Well, none. None. You're going back over 50 years and no piece of legislation. That's why I'm not the NAACP, all that, Urban League, National Action Network, all that. I don't really subscribe to that. Now, y'all can say what you want to say about me, but you know I'm going to stand on my business. And I don't subscribe to all of that, you know, because there's money in that mindset, you know. People get paid to keep us in the dark, you know, right where the powers that be want us to be. The house divided, you know, will always fall. So, I mean, how do you feel about the Democrats? What's your thought about them and what they've done for us?
Um, the
I mean, are
fact,
you a fan of the Democrats?
no, not at all. We're still asking for things that we've been asking for over 50 years, and it's just a long drawn out promise that is never fulfilled. That's how I see the Democratic Party. I'm an independent thinker, and I would love for an independent party to be developed that has strength in numbers, so we can get those what we want on the table and deal with it truthfully and not just, we just get the same song and dance every election. It's the same thing. And I honestly respect some of the Republicans, because what I do respect from them, they're very outward with what they want to do. The Democrats always seem to be vague, but the same swing low, sweet chariot, the same by and by, we gonna get there, and we never quite reach the destination. So no, I'm not a fan.
And the other thing too is that, you know, see the Democrats don't have to do anything to get our votes. You know, they don't have to do nothing because black folks are going to vote for Democrats no matter what. And that's why I always say that, you know, a lot of black folks I talk to, oh, I don't know about the politics. And see, that's willful blindness. I mean, you got to know something about politics so you can understand what's going on. So, you know, and I think that our actions, and not just me and you or the folks who listen to the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show, but us civil black folks, you know, my opinion, my personal opinion is we're not doing enough to raise ourselves up. You know, we're not doing enough to raise ourselves up. Ronald McCready says you have to live with what you have. Republican in office, you deal with a Democrat. No, 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 Ronald McCready, no, hell no. We can't just, you know, take what, you know, eat whatever's on the spoon. No, we can't do that. We still have health care thanks to Democrats. Medicaid is not going anywhere. Medicare is not going anywhere. See, but we have to we have to get to a point where we have to start taking care of ourselves, because other ethnic groups don't really depend on the Asians and the white folks, and they don't depend on health care. You know, they got number one health care. They don't have to rely on handouts and stuff like black folks have been relying on for so many years. Um, No, I don't agree with that, Ronald McCready. Oh no, Lamont Gates says political titles don't mean anything. It's the ideological learning. He said leaning. Yeah, yeah, right. It's ideological leaning that determines who one should vote for. Are they too liberal, too conservative, or moderate, and leans uh, it leans either way. You know, hey, look, I think that you know it's going to be up to us eventually to in regards to how far black folks are going to go. It's up to us. You know, it's not up to government because a lot of ethnic groups don't rely on the government. The Hispanics do. You know, black folks do. The low income ethnic groups rely on the federal government for assistance, but there's a lot of other ethnic groups who don't. Um, Ronald McCready says, yeah, we still have health care thanks to the Democrats. Yeah, but, you know, they, I mean, Obamacare is okay. We got that, but you're not going to get a heart plant transplant on Obamacare. You're not going to get a major surgery, kidney transplant. You know, these people who get their new faces and all of this stuff, they don't get that off of Medicaid. They get that off of private healthcare insurance. So I think that we have to stop relying on the federal government for everything. SNAP and WIC and Section 8 and all that stuff. People don't understand about that. All that stuff was meant to divide us. SNAP and WIC and all of this stuff. That was meant to divide us. That wasn't meant to help us. Because guess what? Remember the old movie Claudine with James Earl Jones and Diane Carroll, where when the welfare lady came around, you know, she couldn't have been no man. She looking in the closets, making sure no men's shoes are there, no suits, nothing that it would indicate that a man has even visited, never mind living there. That's the way it was. Yeah, we'll help you, but you got to get rid of your husband. Or you got to get rid of, we ain't going to help you if you got a man. And that's the way it was. So, again, black folks, we got to pull ourselves up. We can't be relying on Democrats or Republicans or liberals or, whoever. Ronald McCready says, well, you have people who do so. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, but we got to, black folks who are independent of the federal government, like somebody like me, there needs to be more of us, not less of us. See, there's more of us who are depending on the federal government than, there's some of us who are not, but most of us depend on the federal government for help. Lamont Gates says, it isn't only blacks on those services. Most rural, Midwest, and Southern whites use it also. It's a myth that it was meant for black. No, well, but now, were white people told they couldn't have a husband in the house? Lamont Gates? Were white people told that they couldn't have a husband in the house? See, we don't know what they was telling them. It might have been all right for them to have a husband in the house. We don't know that. We only know what they were telling us. It's about 7 minutes, 7 minutes before the hour. I need some water. Let me take a quick break, come back with more. I'm frustrated right now. Let me take a quick break, come back with more of this program. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show, and it's on blogtalkradio.com. Ron Kelly. Yes, indeed, I am the man. What a news cycle this is. This guy has got to go. Trump has got to go. George Floyd snuffed out by this police officer who's supposed to be serving and protecting people.
It's the Ron Kelly Show.
Alrighty then, we are back. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program, and it's all over the place. Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, WBOK 1230 AM in Narlands, and of course blogtalkradio.com is the RonKellyShow.com. Lamont Gates, back to our conversation. Lamont Gates says it was based on income level, not marriage. What do you say to that, Angela? I'm going to pause for a minute.
Please say, if it wasn't based on marriage or a man being in the house, it wouldn't have been a requirement for them not to be married. You can't have, if you want my help, no man could be in your house, and especially if you were married back then, there was no help for you. This is a new factor. I think I can still recall some of the hiding in the 70s or hearing about it, living in Brook Slope projects or people in the projects and seeing the people from welfare come around and seeing the husband or the father leaving out the back door and everything is being hidden. People didn't do that for sport. They did it because they had to if they wanted to help. So, yeah, income was a part of the requirement, but they they really were stricter back then about helping, and it just split the family. Mostly, it split the black family a lot. That the man couldn't be there or couldn't be seen. And how do you think the residual effect watch a child watching their father actually look like he's cowering and hiding and running? The psychological effect is just phenomenal.
Yeah, he's got to run. Ronald McCready says the welfare system was developed for white people first with the Great Depression. I don't know if it was called that, but there was a version of it. I agree, Ronald McCready, that the welfare system was developed for white folks. Um, but you see, the thing with Trump brought these people out. Okay. See, we knew there were we knew there was a large amount of white folks who were antithetical to black and Hispanics minorities. We knew that. You know, we knew that, but we never saw those people. You know, because there was no real credible. We knew there were people out in the bushes, out in North Dakota, South Dakota, out in the middle of nowhere, militias. We knew that. You see, we knew that there was, even though there was no Klan or Aryan Nation or anything like that that affected us, those people were here. But see, it wasn't just the people out in the bushes. It was the people who live on Main Street, people who live on First Street. Look what happened in the city of, in Clark, New Jersey, for example. Clark, New Jersey, with a police chief. The police chief, Clark, New Jersey, just down the road from where we're all at. Clark, New Jersey. The police chief told the cops to stop black and Hispanic people and made N-words and used racial epithets and was reelected, even though the people knew. Even though the people knew what this guy was about, he was a racist. They reelected him. Wow. See, so it's not always about the people who are out in the bushes doing stuff. It was those people who live on Main Street. And see, Trump brought these people out. It's a whole new ball game right now. Trump brought these people out. But Democrats haven't brought out anybody because they've been relying, they knew they had our vote. So Trump really started a revolution. Look what happened with January 6th. White folks came out and they overran the Capitol. Trump brought those people out. Trump gave those people a leader. And that's why January 6th happened. But we're sleeping. We're like the sleeping giant because I'm not saying we should overrun the Capitol, but we should, we need to come out. We need to start our own movement, just like the MAGA people started their movement. You were gonna say, Angela?
I just said I
Oh, let me turn my.
I said I agree. I absolutely agree that we need our own movement, and I believe we are a sleeping giant with about $3 trillion spending power per year, and we don't even get into the beauty industry when it comes to women and how much we spend. We have power, and I think we had an epiphany this week about how much we go to the Asians for food and for hair supplies, but they don't shop from us at all for nothing. Not even some macaroni and cheese or some soul food. So we just need to take stock in our whole situation here and, up our ante in ourselves and our self-worth and start moving amongst ourselves. So I agree with you 100%.
Lamont Gates says the MAGA voted for Republicans, though they didn't start their own party. Yeah, you know what? Why? Lamont Gates, and I'm going, WBOK, I'm going over for a minute. You guys just have to, we know what we do, we edit the show. Lamont Gates says MAGAs voted for Republicans, though they didn't start their own party. But see, the MAGA people voted for Republicans because the Republicans began to represent what MAGA people wanted. You see, because Republicans weren't always about that. Republicans were small government, you know, you know, minimal government intrusion, balanced budget. That's what the Republicans are about. Just a few years ago, before Trump, before 2016, the MAGA the Republicans weren't as the Republicans were not as they were not as radical as they are now. See, Trump made it okay to be a racist or to be antithetical toward blacks and Hispanics. Trump made it okay. See, these people were just waiting for a leader, you know. So the Republicans began to represent what these MAGA people wanted, and that's why they came out and voted. Because they had somebody. Lamont Gates says the opposite of that is blacks should come out in droves and vote Well, blacks should not come out in droves and vote Democrat, Lamont Gates. But black people, we need more than Hakeem Jeffries. You know, Hakeem Jeffries ain't doing it for me. We need power. See, the MAGA people have power in the Republican what they do. Black people and them, we don't have power in the Democratic. We vote for them and then they do what they think is right. You know, we don't have no influence, no power over what they're doing or what they should be doing. But the MAGA people run the Republican Party. They run it. And they get what they want. So if we have to rely on Democrats, we need power in the Democratic community. Not just elect people like Hakeem Jeffries or Jasmine Crockett or whoever. We need power, just like the MAGA people. The MAGA people have major power in the Republican Party. But we don't have power in the Democratic Party, even though we vote for them every year. Look, Ronald McCready says it's just like housing. The projects are built for whites coming from World War II. The southern migration of blacks coming from the south looking for jobs. Projects given to blacks and whites moved out and called it the suburbs. Lamont Gates says MAGA still voted for a major party. They didn't start a movement other than to move the poll. Well, you see, Lamont Gates, but see, the MAGA people are happy with the Republicans and what they're doing. You know, how many black people are happy with the Democrats and what they're doing? Not many of us. You know, because the black folks are still struggling. The black folks still don't have no power. The black folks are not being given a hand up. We've been given a hand out. You know, we need to be given a way to succeed. Not just hand me a turkey at Thanksgiving or, you know, or give my kids some toys at Christmas if I ain't got no money. Teach a man give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach him how to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. And the Democrats have not given us what we need to succeed. They're just giving us handouts. You know, how can somebody be on welfare for 10, 20 years, 30 years, Section 8 for 25 years? You know, it doesn't make any sense. Black folks should be given a way to succeed, not just to survive, but to thrive, to succeed. That's what black folks need. Because what people think of us is that we're just people who just lazy and shiftless and don't want to do nothing for ourselves because we haven't been given a hand up instead of a handout. So the billions and billions and zillions of dollars that are giving out to not just black folks, but to the welfare community, that money should go toward helping us be whole, and not just where we have to just depend on people. So they didn't start a movement, but Trump tapped into those people who felt like they didn't have a leader. Because George Bush, look at the difference between Bush and Trump. It's like night and day. Like night and day. Trump and Bush, the second Bush. It's like night and day. You know, Bush represented the old Republican, low taxes, less government intrusion, those type of things. Trump tapped into those people who they've been waiting for Trump. Those people have been waiting for Trump. And when he came out, I know he lost 2020. It might have been a little overwhelming for some of them, but he came back. And nobody expected him to. Ronald McCready says the Republican Party now are Confederates. Who after the Civil War? After the Civil War. Yeah, and they did return. And they did return. But Trump, somebody from the Democratic Party needs to tap into that black power, you know, that we all know is there. Barack Obama wasn't enough. Barack Obama wasn't enough. Lamont Gates, I wouldn't say they got what they wanted. It seems like they got that. Well, you know what, Lamont Gates? I mean, when I watched the election, and early on, you knew Kamala Harris's goose was cooked. You knew. I think she won Vermont, had like 3 electoral votes, and Trump was sweeping her up, you know, underneath the table with everything else. You know. So, I mean, according to those people who I even asked at a Trump rally, so if Trump raped your wife, would you have a problem with it? And some of the men didn't know what to say.
Wow.
Didn't know what to say. You know, they just stood there and stared at me. Mm-hmm. You know, so for somebody who would let another man, oh God, Lamont Gates says 80% of blacks voted for Kamala. So why did she lose, Lamont Gates? Why did she lose? Why did Kamala rather, because that's what Trump called her, Kamala. Why did Kamala Harris lose if 80% of the, because there's not enough black people in America to put anybody over the edge. Black folks helped with Barack Obama, but black folks didn't put Obama in office. Those was white folks. Did we have a share in it? Yeah. But it was white folks that put Barack Obama in office, not us. Not us. Ronald McCready says Latino voters didn't vote for her either. No, they didn't. Latino voters did not vote for Barack Obama, for Kamala Harris. And not just because Latino men don't believe that women should be in power. It wasn't just that. It was a level of racism. It was a level of racism. You know, because I know I work with some Hispanics. I know probably don't like me because I'm black. They don't act like they do, but they do. You know, so there's a the mindset right now is, oh, I ain't know nothing about no politics. I don't want to get involved. That's the mindset right now, because black folks don't have nobody to link into. You know, even having Barack Obama for 8 years. You know, we need to get stirred up, and I don't mean violently like the Black Panthers, but black folks need to get stirred up. See, because I'm gonna close in a minute or two. Barack Obama, but Donald Trump was the messiah for those people, for the MAGA people. They was waiting. They didn't like George Bush, the MAGA people. All those people that went to Washington and overran the Capitol. I mean, I don't think we should do that, but Trump tapped into those people. Trump said, I'm here, I'm with you. And they responded. Not in a good way, but they responded. So we need somebody to stir us up. Okay, all right, I'm way over my time limit. I gotta go, everybody. Thanks so much, Lamont, Ronald McCready, and all the other people on LinkedIn who are complaining because they can't send me a message because I can't see them on this thing. But yeah, Ronald McCready, because she was a woman. Yeah, because she was a woman. Some Hispanics, you know, if you notice, like as I work in the Spanish community, and I see a lot of the women when it's time to go to work, they be rolling a big cart of clothes to the laundromat because the man does everything and the woman stays home and cooks and takes care of the kids. And that's what a lot of Hispanic people think, that the woman should just be home, doing her due. So anyway, everybody, thanks for joining me. Thank you, Angela. Oh,
You're
and
welcome.
yeah, we're going to read. I talked to old girl, and she said we were going to do a monthly thing, the Linda Gala show. We were going to do a monthly round table with the women.
Okay.
Yeah, we.
Unmute yourself now.
Together with you, and we'll set it up.
Okay.
All right, Angela. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming, Angela.
No problem.
She next week. Don't forget Anthony Davis, Politics, Divorce in Prison. It's a book he wrote, and Anthony Davis will be on the Ron Kelly show next week. So look out for that. Next week, Anthony Davis, former first ward councilman in the city of Patterson, will be on the program next week. His book is called Politics, Divorce, and Prison. There is a life after. So we'll get with him next week. All right, everybody. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining me. LinkedIn, Facebook, Blog Talk Radio, all the places the Ron Kelly Show lands. Thank you so much for listening to me. We'll see you back here next week for another edition of the Ron Kelly Show. Until then, I'd like to say it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. And that we may not have it all together, ladies and gentlemen, but together we'll definitely have it all. Thank you so much. I'm out of here.